I gotta hold off on this project. I got some parts coming for it. So in the meantime, we're gonna work on these frame connectors. Originally, when I took this apart, I thought the frame connectors actually took up this space, but it doesn't. It actually goes over this piece that's supposed to be welded in here. So we got this guy right here. He's prepped and ready to go. Now I just need to put everything together, clamp it in place, and then weld it. And then the frame rail will actually sit over top of it. I think we might actually have to trim some of it, but that's fine, not a big deal. So that's what I'm working on now. Everything is ready. I just gotta fit it up. All right, so I got this fitted up where I think it needs to be at. I did notice, if you look down this area has dropped significantly more than this left side. I don't remember what it looked like when I cut it off, but I don't think it's really gonna matter anyways, because this frame connector that I'm adding is gonna sit over this, kind of box it in place. My only concern is it gonna push up the frame connector on this end? I don't think it'd be too big of a deal. I'm just gonna do one plug weld here and then throw the frame connector on and see where it's at. And if I have to, I'll just drill the welds back out and just refit it, I guess. Quite a big gap here, but I don't think taking any metal off of this bottom piece is gonna fix anything. I don't think it's raised right there. That's not even touching. So it's just this area that's being pushed up. So this does angle down. It's just part of the floor pan. Okay, so that's what I'm dealing with right now. You can see the floor kind of slopes down and this frame rail does not. It goes all the way across. Still sitting up a little bit high, but regardless, I don't really want to hammer the floor to get this to come up. So what I'm gonna do is right at the slope, probably about right there on both sides, I'm gonna cut this all the way up, just like you see it here. That way I can push this down. So this should kind of spread, this should go down, and then we can close that gap, at least better. I don't really want to pull the floor up. I don't know, I just don't want to do that. But regardless, we'll make it work. This is pretty close. Looks a little bit uneven, like this is higher than that side. I have it measured out right now to where it's even off this rocker, front and back, so that way I know it's all the way straight. So yeah, we'll make that cut and then try to get that to follow the line a little bit better. Okay, so I'm about to spray this thing. I got it finished, everything's welded. Just to go over everything I did. So we had holes in every single little tab. We had a couple right here. Didn't put any holes on the top because we had them right here on this, I don't know what to call this, a brace, I guess. So we plug welded 3 holes there, and then we did a few up here, and then we also welded the seam together. And then on the inside, I didn't do the best grinding this down right here, just because you're not really going to see it. I don't really care too much about this area, but basically we had 2 plug welds up here and then a few down this way, and then we also had 3 right here, and then on both sides I did a little better on the other side, but this is cut so both of these plates could move around, so I just hammered this one over and welded it in, and then the other side I actually finished it and welded it all the way down here and then ground it smooth. That turned out pretty good. And then I also put a couple welds on the outside of this tab just for a little bit more support. Why not, right? Okay, so this is much better. This I can work with. So we're gonna move on now, and the next thing I have to do, just to be able to get this to line up properly, I'll show you what I'm talking about. So I flared everything out back here. I bent these tabs down to kind of follow the curvature, and that matches up good, so I'm happy with that. So then we got this back plate, right? So for this to be able to sit flush all the way down, I need to notch this. So pretty much where this follows, just where it stops, I just made a little mark. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut that all the way across, so that way they can butt together properly, and it should be able to drop this plate down a little bit more. All right, so I'm happy with that. It's pretty close. And this side don't look too bad. Actually looks pretty good. Okay, so everything looked good back here. Everything is nice and flush, sitting all the way down. So now all I'm gonna do is tack this together and tack that together so it doesn't move. And we'll remove the whole rail, and we'll clean everything up, every spot where it needs to be plug welded, and we'll put some weld-through primer on it and get this black paint off just where I need to weld at. Alright, so I put some weld-through primer down. Just letting it dry right now. And in the meantime, I'm gonna weld this up. Alright, so we're ready to weld now. Everything's fitted up pretty good. I got that gap down some. Everything fits well. Weld all the way across there. That's fitted up pretty good. There's a small little gap. I'm gonna have to hammer that down some, or go underneath and hammer it up just to be able to close it up a little bit more. But all in all though, I mean, it's not bad. Everything else is pretty much just flat all the way across. Kind of put some plug welds down. I just finished up the last couple welds. We gotta go down here, up, and then along the top. And then we're done. Well, we can start grinding at least. So we get all the welds ground down. And then that's it. We'll have to paint it. We'll do that later date. There's some other like framing stuff that I want to do. Like I'd like to finish this fender apron area on both sides. And then probably front frame rails. We got this to fix. And then we could put this black primer and paint over it. These frame rails are finally in. So I just did my last bit of welding right here, and I'm probably just gonna leave it at that. So we need to coat it now. And we're gonna do the same thing we did with the rest of this underbody and just use some Eastwood products. So we'll do some epoxy primer and then their top coat. Before I do that, I need to decide whether or not I actually want to keep working on this and smooth it out, make it look great, or just leave it as is. Right now, I'm pretty happy with it overall. But I mean, you could spend so many hours on this, getting it straight and getting this like perfectly straight and smoothed out. And you know, obviously we got this other side to do, so top and bottom. I mean, you could spend hours and hours and hours on making this look perfect, but I think I'm happy with how it is now, so probably just gonna leave it. And I started this project like 4 weeks ago and ended up working on the front frame rails, and I thought I was just gonna patch like one little plate, and ended up being a whole another project basically. So we're back on this. We got it finished. It's all welded in. One thing I want to add is I did add some drain holes, top and bottom. Those are a 1/2 inch in diameter, and the reason why I did that was when you get water inside here in any of these holes, so we got one there, we got one there, there's a gap there and gap on the other side, so whenever it rains or you hit a big puddle or whatever and water gets inside here, when it drops inside this rail, it doesn't have anywhere to go. So I added 1/2 inch hole right here for everything to drain out. And this is the lowest point on the rail, you know, when the car is sitting level. So, yep, something to think about. You could try to weld up every single little bit hole and try to seam seal every spot, but I feel like water's just gonna get in there. Might as well have a way for it to get out. All right, thanks for watching.